I am live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Be Real, Get Real with Women's Prosperity Network. And I'm Trish Carr, your host. And hello, whether you're watching live as we are going through this conversation today, or whether you're watching on the replay. I'm so glad that you stopped for a moment to stay here with me. Go ahead and grab, for me, it's a cup of coffee. For you, it might be a glass of water. I have those too. But whatever it is, just grab it. And for the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to have a great conversation. Because what Be Real, Get Real is about is just that, having conversation with business people as people. Isn't that a great idea? Because we do business with people. We don't really do business with business. It's the people behind the business that really creates that know, like, and trust factor that makes the relationship great, that makes your customers want to be your advocates and tell other people about you. So I'm so excited to have with me someone I've known for a very long time, and I'm really excited to get into her story because she has some really interesting things to share. And we have so much in common too, which is so nice. And let me tell you a little bit about her, and then I'm going to bring her on. Gloria Grace Band, and Gloria Grace is the perfect name for her because she is glorious and she lives with grace. She works with service-based entrepreneurs, that's you, that hire her to enhance their influence, to create more impact and increase their income, because impact is important and we need income to keep us going, because the more income we have, the greater the impact as well. And many people may have run into what she calls a revenue ceiling, where your revenue is just pretty much staying the same. So what she does is she helps you align with the truth of your soul. This is someone who really looks in you and brings out the best so that your business grows with ease and grace as more ideal clients seek you out. And the bottom line is you're guaranteed to be more successful sharing messages from the heart. So please help me welcome the fabulous Gloria Grace Rand. Gloria, so good to see you.
It's so good to see you, Trish. I am so glad to be here.
Me too.
And I don't know why I'm getting feedback all of a sudden there, but hopefully it'll be okay.
I'm not hearing it. So
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm not
Good.
hearing it. I know. So these conversations really, we get real in these conversations. And one of the first things that you even self-disclose this on your website. One of the things that we have in common is we both had an alcoholic father growing up. And that makes for a really interesting upbringing. Plus for you, your mom, so my mom was more of an enabler type of mom. It sounded like your mom was angry, maybe. She was not necessarily physically abusive, but verbally abusive to you.
Yeah, and also even to my older brother and sister as well. I mean, she would get into yelling and it's no fun to have to deal with that. And she would really overreact, I think, a lot of times, or just maybe not overreact, but it was just get magnified, I think, of whatever was, she perceived as, me doing something wrong or my siblings doing something wrong. And, she also struggled with depression. I know she was in recovery when I was really little. And she was married to an alcoholic. So,
Right.
Life was not easy for her. And I've, long since forgiven her for anything, because when she wasn't, frustrated and stressed out about maybe money or my dad, she could also be very loving, and she gave me a lot of wonderful advantages. She gave music lessons and dance lessons. And even when, this is the thing I love the best, is that when I graduated from college, we were living in Michigan at the time, and I wanted to move to Florida where my grandmother lived. And so one day we were in a movie theater. Remember those? And she said, "Gloria, I divorce you. you can go to Florida. You don't have to wait for me, because she was getting ready to retire, but it was going to be like another year or two. And she says, I don't want you to wait. You're graduating from college. You need to go start your life. And that was one of the best gifts that she ever gave me. And so
you moved to Florida on your own?
I moved to Florida, well, sort of on my own, because I moved into initially I think my grandmother, they had 4 apartments in the building that she lived in, and her and her husband owned that apartment. So I think I initially moved into one of the spare apartments, but then I did find a duplex that was actually like 2 doors down. So I was still like close by. But I did, yeah, I moved down by myself. And so I had to get my own, I had to find a job, and I lucked into a wonderful church congregation. I joined the choir and met some fabulous people there. In fact, I'm still today, to this day, friends with his wife was in the choir, and he actually wound up walking me down the aisle, because my dad wound up having his legs amputated due to some arterial problems from smoking and drinking and stuff. So Jimmy walked me down the aisle, and then my dad met me, down at front when I got married. So I had 2 dads there, in a sense.
That's nice. You had 2 dads, in a sense. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
when I was growing up, for me, it was about finding attention. For you, I think you said it was the opposite. You went into be seen and not heard.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because I wanted, I decided I was going to be the good girl, and just, not make waves, and try to do whatever I could to just not bring attention to myself, because I never knew if, what I was going to do that might trigger my mom. And of course, it's no fun living. You don't know what life is going to be like. Is your dad going to be sober? Is he going to be drunk? I mean, he wasn't like a violent drunk or anything like that. He was just quiet and miserable, I think. And so, yeah, I excelled in school, but really became more of this sort of people pleaser persona that lasted for quite a while, really lasted into adulthood, and did not, I guess it serves my clients well, because I do. So I do, try to do as best I can, and over deliver, of course. So it's good for them. But in personal relationships, it's not always the best thing, because then you start stifling who you are. And that's really why I am so passionate now about helping people to really step into their value, owning their value, and appreciating who they are, and learning to say no when it's appropriate, kindly, but to be able to set boundaries for yourself, so you're not getting just letting other people run your life. Yeah. So,
what I find really interesting is that it's so interesting that there you were in your child's mind saying, I'd rather be seen, I'm going to keep quiet, I'm going to go into the background. That must have created some kind of intuition, perception with you, because you can work with people and see what's inside them and help bring that out. I mean, it's just so interesting that you were like, I'm zipping up, and yet here you are able to show other people and help other people and support them in finding their truth, their message, their voice. Like, how did you? And you got a BA in mass communication, which is like blows my mind too. So
yeah,
what it is that gives you that gift?
Well, I think there's also this there's been, I'm reading a book right now, and it talks about divine dichotomy. I'm reading Conversations with God right now.
Yeah.
And so in a way, there was this divine dichotomy with me, because at the same time that I was, wanting to not be seen and be heard, and yet I was excelling at school. So I was actually standing out, and I did love to dance. And so I performed every year in our dance recitals, and was even like did solo numbers when I got older. And I love to sing, and I've always enjoyed that. So it's interesting that and I think that is reflective of the fact that there is a light within all of us that wants to be seen, and I really want to help other people to be confident, and in doing that, um, because I was resisting it and sometimes, and I wrote a chapter in a compilation book one time called Reluctant Leader No More, Stepping Out of the Shadows and Into the Spotlight, because I kept finding myself in positions of leadership, and realized that I need to just own that, and that I do like to lead. I mean, even in high school, I was in the band. I played alto saxophone, but they had our band director had a tryout. So for one song during one of our performances, someone could be the conductor. Well, guess who volunteered to sign up for that? And then who did actually lead? I had to learn how to conduct. And so I actually did one number. So yeah, I want to be in the spotlight. There's just no denying it anymore. I like to do that. And I like to, but I know the value of also going within and being
Mhm.
quiet and listening to my intuition, and then also teaching others how to do the same.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the household, you were quiet, but
Yeah.
outside, you were somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it exactly. Yeah. Cause I think I needed to do that. And yeah. And actually now that I'm thinking of, because my mother also loved to talk. I mean, she was a talker. And then I wound up marrying someone who also likes to talk, and frankly, his birthday was a day after my mom's, so they were, both Pisces. And so it was like, of course. But so I've had to, but I didn't mind. But if you do get me going, I do like to talk, and it's part of
Yeah.
why I have my own podcast now, because I enjoy it. I love talking, and I love interviewing other people as well.
Tell me about the podcast.
So the podcast is called Live, Love, Engage, and
Which is also the title of your book, your
also
last
the
book.
title of my book. Yes, and I actually started it to help me write the book, because I thought it would be a good way for me to flesh out some of the ideas I was having and to be able to talk about them. And and I say that we offer practical advice from a spiritual perspective to help you to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically. And so it's one of the highlights of my day when I get to do an episode, whether I'm doing it myself or whether I'm interviewing someone. I really enjoy it, and I love showcasing people and meeting interesting people. I'm sure you do too, because
Yeah,
you're
I do.
that's why you're doing this. So it's
Yeah.
so much fun. Yeah.
And can I can I see or I listen to the podcast on your website? Where do I
Yes.
pick it up?
Yes, it's right. It's available on the podcast on my website. There's a tab that says podcast on the menu there, and of course, it's on all the major podcast platforms, and on YouTube as well, because I do videos like you're doing. And yeah, and it's I loved when you asked me to be on the show, and you wanted me to come up with a title, and I was like, so finding, and I came up with Finding Grace Through Grief. And because it was part of that was um, learning how to love myself in when I lost my sister through cancer. But it was also finding me and realizing that I had this middle name that my mom had given me, and that I finally decided that I should use it, and use
Mhm.
it, professionally, instead of just Gloria Rand, which is that's what my original website domain was. But now
Right.
I do have GloriaGraceRand.com too. It
Good.
redirects.
We need to go to that because when
Yeah.
I think of you as Gloria Grace. And I seriously, when I introduced you, I really do. I think of you in that term and in that way, that you really are so graceful. And you mentioned losing your sister. So just the thought of that makes me well up because, I have two of them.
Hmm.
And I I can only imagine what that was like for you. And I know that you said that when she passed, that you had some kind of a knock from God and some kind of download?
Yeah.
Tell
So
us
that's
about that.
Yeah, so that's actually where the book came from. So 2 months, so my sister was healthy massage therapist, and then was diagnosed with cancer. It was like the doctors said, yeah, it was like, as if being struck by lightning, the chances of you getting this type of cancer. It was a pediatric cancer, and she was 62. So,
Wow.
go figure. So 2 months before she transitioned, I was meditating as I normally do. I've been meditating pretty much since I started my business, and it was a really wonderful practice and helped me a lot when I was taking care of her, to be able to ground myself first before I could help her. So 2 months before that, I'm meditating, and this idea all of a sudden comes into my head that says, "You should write a book about love." And I went, where is this coming from? Because I do online marketing. I talk about blogging and social media, and I do SEO copywriting. And I thought that was the craziest thing. And yet, for some reason, I sat down at my computer and said, and opened up a Word doc and went, okay, if I were to write a book about love, what would it be? And what came through was love is an acronym. Like, okay, well, sure. All right. So what's L? So L was let go and let God. The O was open your heart to receive. The V is value your uniqueness. And the E is embrace your divinity.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't able to do a whole lot with that right then, because actually I wound up even a couple of days later having to fly out to Arizona to be with my sister because she was having some serious complications. And so it really took me, and then in 2017, I was basically just grieving that whole year and not getting a whole lot done, even on my business. So I think it wasn't until really 2018 where I started to go back to writing the book. And then in 2019, I was working with a coach, and all of a sudden it hit me like why I had to write a book about love. I don't know why it took me so long, but it was like, oh, because the book was for me first and foremost, because I had to learn how to love myself. And I came up finally with the subtitle of the book is How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. And that was what I had to learn how to do. And
Wow.
yeah. And so it is, so losing my sister was hard. And yet at the same time, I feel that she also still had a hand in this gift for me that, that I was able to learn for myself and to share with other people now. And because I know that so many of us, and especially as entrepreneurs, we doubt ourselves a lot. We get imposter syndrome sometimes, and comparing yourself to other people. But to really just be able to put that aside and just focus in on who you are, what's unique about you, and to just own the truth of that and own the fact that you are a spiritual being and your essential essence is love. And if we can treat ourselves with love, then we can treat others with love, and life will be a lot better all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me go. You went through those so quickly. I want to make sure that everybody gets these. So get your pen and your paper or your little keys on your hands on
Right.
your keyboard. But
Okay.
the first one is let go and let God.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy one for especially I like to control things.
Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's because I think, especially growing up with alcoholism, that's
Yes.
something you couldn't control. And so we find other ways to be able to restore control in our lives. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that's a big one. So take a breath, let go, breathe,
yeah,
and let universe, let God, let Allah, let your higher power, whatever it is you call it,
yeah,
just let go and let life take over for a little while. And then the second
exactly.
was open your heart and receive.
Yeah.
And I think so many people are looking to give. that they don't receive. Is that where you're
Yeah.
coming from with that?
Yeah, exactly. It's about, I mean, I write in the book that my sister at one point, she's like, God, did you have to give me cancer to teach me how to ask for help?
Mm. It's
You
funny you
know?
say that. I know several people who that was the thing that made them ask for help. Did you have
Mhm.
to make it so tough on me? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's about letting other people give to you because that's a
exactly.
gift to them.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's ultimately, I mean, it's, it's about receiving money. It's about receiving love, and love
Right.
comes in lots of different forms. So
Yes.
yeah.
Beautiful. And then value your uniqueness, which is really the crux of what you do for people is you help them emerge authentic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because pretty much whatever business you're in, there are other people doing the same type of work, but there are people out there who want to work with you specifically because of who you are, how you show up in the world, what your unique background is, what skills or life experience do you have, and all of that is what makes you different from anybody else. And so we have to learn to celebrate that. And that was like the hardest part for me to even write in the book. When I wrote it out first and then typed it up. And when I went to type it up, it was like that section had the least amount of material in there because I was still struggling with it.
Yeah.
So
It was good. It was great for you because look at what it opened up for you and how, and then the last one is embrace your divinity.
yeah. Yeah. And that's ultimately, I mean, and again, no matter what you believe, it really boils down to self-love. Just, embracing that you came here to this planet for some reason, and you have gifts to share, um, talents and abilities, as our lovely Marty Ward that we was a member, that she was one of my
Yeah,
coaches.
mine
Um,
too.
yeah,
Mine too.
yeah, and she always talked about those, and yeah, embrace what is unique about you. Embrace that you have value, and you're here to do good work in this world. But you've got to learn how to love yourself first, because it's just not going to work very well if you don't. You're going to be struggling,
Right.
and life's short, and you never know when life is going to happen.
Exactly.
So you need to be good to yourself now and have fun, enjoy life, and loving yourself starts with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Words of wisdom for sure. And I can see how your journey in the last 6 years, in particular, after the loss of your sister, ha- that journey has really affected your work. So, yes, you're still marketing. Yes, you still do copywriting. Yes, you make sure websites speak, who the person is. But the hearts piece of it has really shifted in your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I came up with that tagline, "Messages from the Heart," like, I guess last year, because it dawned on me. It was like, yeah, that's what it is. It really is about, um, communicating from the heart, and so I not only do that through writing, but I also do some, it's through coaching and other types of work. So, yeah, it's, and I think I do see a lot more people, I think, are starting to get that, even in business, that it really, that's how you can be sustainable in business, when you come across that way, when you are really, um, treating people with love and respect in your marketing. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and it's happening more and more. And the old dog eat dog competition, that's kind of going out the window.
yeah.
Now it's like person to person relationships, be yourself, be real. And
Mhm.
I appreciate you so much coming
Mhm.
on today and being real and getting real with what your life is about and your journey. So
Mhm.
make sure you connect with Gloria Grace. She's amazing, as you can tell. You can reach her at gloriarand.com. and she's got goodies on her website, so go there and check it out. Gloria, when you look back on your journey and where you are right now, like right today, you're going to be going and you're leading a retreat. So that's a shift in your business.
Yes.
What would you say to someone who's still struggling with the embracing my uniqueness and loving myself? What would be the parting wisdom you'd like to leave with people?
I would say for one thing is to spend time with yourself. And that can be, if you like meditating, great. If it's going outside and walking in nature, but really give yourself the grace of spending some quiet time and getting to know yourself. And the valuing yourself part is maybe spend some time one day writing down a list of everything that you've ever done, that um and I mean, go back even to childhood and think of things that you did that were, maybe that you got an award for or something. And if you are still stuck with trying to figure out what are the things that you're good at, ask somebody else, ask a friend, ask a client, ask a loved one, because they often pretty much always will see things in you that we don't see in ourselves, and they hold up a mirror to us. So those would be my recommendations, and just be gentle with yourself, because you'll get there. It sometimes takes longer than others people, but you just go at your speed, and your speed is the perfect speed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gloria. Be sure you pick up the book at Live, Love, Engage. You can probably get it on Gloria's website.
You can get it on my website. It's also on Amazon too. But
you can get it on Amazon. That would be a great way for you to find your unique self, to embrace your own divinity, to live, to let go and let God, and to open your heart to receiving. So, Gloria, thank you so much for being with us today. I so appreciate you being so transparent, and for all that you do for people. Like, I cannot say enough about people living the authentic life and showing the world who they really are, instead of living in this comparison culture that I have to look great, I have to be the greatest. Here's my little face I put onto the world. The face that you have, you can show the world, and they will love you even more. And Gloria helps you to get there. So thank you, Gloria Grace. Have a fantastic retreat this weekend. Thank you for being with us, and thank all of you for watching and sharing. See that little share button down there? Go ahead and click that. And I would love to hear your comments. What are you doing to let go and let God? What are you doing to embrace your divinity? What are the things that you are doing so that you can be your authentic self? Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you next time for another Be Real, Get Real.
Thank you, Trish.